Here's my full review of the Note 5, and this is a long overdue review, so I'm just going to be talking about some of the pros and some of the cons of this smartphone. Now, I really don't have to rehash what other reviewers are saying about this phone. This is a good smartphone to buy, and this is the first year that Samsung has actually made a premium looking smartphone, from its all glass back to its metal sides to its front. Everything with this phone just screams premium design. Overall, the build of this phone is a very nice phone. In terms of the performance of this phone, you will get buttery smooth performance with the Note 5. It is rocking the latest specs from Samsung. 7420 octa-core processor in this bad boy. It's also rocking 4 gig of RAM in this, so you should have no problem multitasking. A lot of people have said that this phone has a problem where it won't keep apps in the background or keep them loaded in the background, but so far I've had no problems with this smartphone. If you're looking for a smartphone that's going to have the best display on the market, period, this is about the best display you can get on the market. This is a Quad HD display, so it's not going to be 4K. It's 2K resolution in your pocket, but it does look crispy. The PPI of this phone is 518 pixels per inch, so it is going to be a very, very, very crispy looking display. Are the colors going to be accurate with an AMOLED display, a Super AMOLED display? No, probably not, because all the colors are saturated, but that's what makes a Super AMOLED display better than a standard LCD panel, because it does make the colors pop a lot more than what you would regularly see on a regular smartphone like an iPhone. Overall, I'm very happy with the screen on this phone. It is a monster, especially when you're watching a lot of videos like Netflix, YouTube, Hulu, and things like that. You're really going to have a solid experience. Now, this phone is 5.7 inches diagonal, and they did keep the 5.7 inch display from last year. This is probably going to be the standard moving on for the Note series. They have finally found a perfect size for the Note. And one thing they did do on this phone, which I really love, is they actually fixed the fingerprint scanner. If you've owned the Note 4 or if you own the S5, then you'll know you used to have to swipe your hand down, your finger down, and it was kind of clunky, but now you just hold your finger on it and it perfectly unlocks the device to where you can almost hit it every time. Now, in my experiences, I am able to hit that almost every single time. It's not perfect, and it's not as fast as the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus fingerprint scanner, but it's good enough for me that I actually do use the fingerprint scanner on here. Like I said, it is an improvement over the Note 4 and the S5, so I do love how they improved the fingerprint scanner. I'll go ahead and show you the fingerprint scanner right now. Put my thumb on it and it is unlocked. Right here you are rocking Lollipop, the latest operating system from Google, 5.1.1, and also in the performance district or performance aspect of this phone, you also have 40% less bloatware on TouchWiz. So if you're not a fan of TouchWiz, this may entice you to buy a Samsung device, although it's still really relevant, or you can notice it on this phone. It's not as bad as it was before. As you can see, swiping through stuff is buttery smooth. I've had no problems with performance on this phone so far. Now, you will get apps that crash, but that's not a Samsung problem. It's more or less an Android problem. With so many Android phones on the market, apps really can't be developed specifically for one Android phone, since there's so many on the market. I have found apps to crash, but that's a few and far between when it comes to crashing apps on this phone. Now, in terms of the battery life, you may be wondering, the battery on this is just average. You're not going to be getting amazing battery life with this phone. If you're somebody that really needs an amazing battery or a really good battery, I would stray away from this phone, honestly. With my heavy usage, I'm still able to get about 6, 7, or 8 hours out of this battery. But it won't last me a full day. I will admit, it's not going to last me a full day. For most people that are heavy smartphone users, they're probably not going to last a day on this. They'll probably last about 4 or 5 hours, and then they will need to recharge this thing. The battery in here is 3,000 milliamps, So it is a more smaller battery than the Note 5. If you're coming from the Note 5, then you know that phone has a 3100 milliamp battery, I think, or 3200. I can't remember, but it does have a bigger battery. And another thing about this phone is you cannot remove the battery on the back because it is a glass back. You can't remove the battery. So if you're looking for that too, you may also not want to get this. But again, you can buy a portable charger or charging case or something like that to solve the problem. And again, on the memory, you also can't remove the memory on this, so you either go with 32 or 64 gig. If you're buying the Note 5, I would highly recommend going with the 64 gig just because you can't actually put storage in the device. There's no more micro SD card slot. But then again, you can also buy stuff from retailers that actually let you use micro SD cards. They just pop onto the micro USB port on the bottom, and they give you a micro USB port, so you can actually put micro SD cards in your phone. You can buy those separately, or you can use services like Dropbox or Google Drive and things like that to increase the storage of this phone if you're running low on storage. So those are things you could do to solve the problem. Overall, I've had this phone now for about 2.5 months, and I must say I am very, very happy with this phone. I've had really no complaints over it. I actually like the phone. Unlike most people that didn't buy this phone because of the non-removable battery and because the micro SD card slot. Overall, I am very happy. And on the back of it, you have a 16 megapixel shooter. And I must say, this is a beast of a camera on the back. You will not be disappointed when taking pictures with this camera. They are very, very crispy. Now, the only problem with this camera, I will say, is low light performance is not the best. But then again, if you go and use the manual mode on the phone, you can actually get pretty good shots in low light. But for people who aren't going to use the manual modes on the camera, then this isn't really a good camera for a low light performance. And then you also got your LED flash and you got your heart rate monitor. Let's face it, most people are probably not going to use the heart rate monitor. It's just a bonus if you want to use the heart rate monitor. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up a site and show you how buttery smooth this thing is. I'll just go to CNN.com. I don't know really what happened there. Let's go to CNN.com. Or whatever. I do apologize, actually. I am looking through the camera lens, so this may be a little bit tricky. Usually it's not that slow. It's just that for some reason when I'm actually using it on camera, it tends to get slow for some reason. But trust me, this is not a slow phone. And I do have pretty good Wi-Fi at my house, but as you can see, it is pretty fast. Now, this also wouldn't be a Note device without the pen, and I'll show you guys the pen right here. Now, I know a lot of people don't actually use the pen on the Note series. It's just a bonus, but I will show you the pen on here. Now, since this device is so thin, you actually can't pull it out anymore with your fingernail. You actually have to pop it out like a ballpoint pen. And one nice thing Samsung did with the Note 5 is they actually made it to where you can write on the screen once you pop out the pen. You no longer have to unlock it to write something. So if you're in a hurry and someone says, write down my telephone number or write down my address, and you don't want to forget it, you can just pop out the pen and start writing. No more unlocking the device and then taking down your note, which is a very nice thing. That should entice people to use the pen more. I'm going to go ahead and take it out. Once you take it out, it will actually automatically activate the off-screen memo. So as you can see, the off-screen memo did come on. Now you can see on the screen there's a delete, save, a pen, and an eraser, and then you can just start writing. And as you can see, it did write really, really nice. And then you can save it. Once you put the pen back in the pen slot at the bottom, it'll automatically save your memo. Or you can go up there and just click the save right there. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I obviously don't need this. And then going back and unlocking the phone, I will show you some other things. Now you get the same carousel as you did get before, but it is a little bit bigger. You get Action Memo, Smart Select, Smart Write, and then at the bottom you got 3 places for your own apps. So if you want to access your own apps really fast, you can. As you can see, I got Chrome, Messages, and Twitter right there, but you can add your own right there. And of course, this got all the features that it had before on the pen. I don't really need to go through those. There is one thing I will say I do not like about this phone. I mean, it's not really a big deal since most people are probably not going to be using it. Now, one thing I do use a lot on the Note 5 is Google Now, because I am a big Google Now user. I use it about 80% of the time because it's so convenient and it's so fast and so nice. But on the Note 5, you can actually say, "Okay, Google," without, as you see it already activated, you can actually use it without actually touching anything, just like the new iPhone 6s and 6s Plus. The one thing I have a problem with is that does not always activate. It's kind of finicky. Sometimes it'll recognize your voice and sometimes it will not recognize your voice. I guarantee you when I test it out right now, it'll make a fool out of me, so I do apologize. But about 20% of the time, it does not recognize my voice. Okay, Google. Okay, Google. Okay, Google. As you can see, it's not doing it right now. I don't know why. You do have to set it up in the settings, but for some reason, it doesn't always work for me, and it really annoys me because I really love that feature a lot. It is a very nice feature. Now on the front you have a 5 megapixel shooter, and on the back you have a 16 megapixel shooter, and the 16 megapixel shooter on the back will shoot full 4K images. You just won't get stabilizer on the 4K when you take 4K videos. You won't be able to actually use a stabilizer on the 4K. Overall, my experiences have been very, very, very nice with this phone. And if you're thinking about picking up this phone right now, you can actually get 15 days to try this phone out. That's one thing a lot of people don't know about smartphones or tablets. You actually get 15 days to try it out before you actually get to keep it. So if you want to test it out for a couple days and then you decide you don't like it, you can return it to your carrier. You'll just get a restocking fee for trying out the phone. Overall, I have nothing else to say about this phone. It got everything you would need. It got ABGN and AC support for the Wi-Fi. It does have the latest Wi-Fi bands in here. It also has Bluetooth, NFC. It has everything you would possibly need for a smartphone, and this is a very good purchase for me. I've been very happy with this phone overall, and peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out.